I was woken up at 3:33 a.m. with this question circulating in my mind. And that question was, how much authority, how much power do we really have in this co-creationship relationship with the universe? Basically, how much say do you really have when it comes to being able to manifest, being able to tell the universe what you want and then have it actually happen? Or how much of this is really out of our control? How much of this is really a game of the universe deciding what's available to us? If you've been following me for any amount of time, or you've done any research into the manifestation community, you'll know about the law of attraction, and you'll probably have heard me talk about the law of vibration. Basically saying that the law of attraction is always on, you can't turn it off, but it's not going to give you what you want, it's always going to give you more of what you already are. Another way to look at this is it can only give you as much of what you are already a vibrational match for. So you can say all day long, I want $100,000 a month, but if you're only operating at a level mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, vibrationally, where you're really only a match for $20,000 a month, you're going to consistently get proof back to you. You're going to have the universe mirror back to you that you're actually only qualified at this point in time vibrationally to receive $20,000 a month. However, I've had enough proof come in my own life and in clients' lives as well, to know that this isn't fully out of our control. There is an element here where we get to decide what we want. I think the key that's missing, and the answer to this question that became more clear the more that I meditated on it, sat on it, and then had a discussion with my husband, where we really came to the conclusion that it's really, at the end of the day, about inputs and outputs. If you say that you want $100,000 a month, and you tell the universe, this is what I want, in my experience, the universe says yes, almost, I would say 99% of the time, unless there's something better lined up for you. But it simply activates the process. You asking for it doesn't mean it's gonna fall out of the sky instantly for you. Instead, it activates this energetic container where, even though there are not necessarily time requirements, there are energetic requirements in order for that manifestation to be able to come into your life. So I wrote something down, and I want to show this to you to give you a little bit of a visual. Step 1 at the bottom is setting your intention and asking the universe for something. The universe is going to say yes. And then, instead of setting a time goal as to when you want this to happen, mentally I want you to reframe this as you simply asking the universe for a blueprint on how it could happen, or what they would like you to do in order for this goal to finally materialize. I want you to see this as a meter or a container that has to fill to the top. All of your aligned actions are going to be filling this container up, 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 up. And once you finally get to the top and you've put in enough of the inputs that you need, you'll get the output, which is the end goal, which is your desire. The problem that we have as humans is we don't know how much of an input is going to equal the output. This is why we get frustrated. This is why we start to feel like we've been working incredibly hard for something and feeling frustrated that it hasn't dropped into our reality yet. But I've come to realize that part of filling that barometer, part of filling that container, part of getting that bar to go up as you get closer and closer to your end goal, part of closing the gap, is not just the work that you're doing on a physical 3D level. In fact, I would argue that the physical work that you're doing, even just the aligned action pieces, are really only going to get you 50% of the way. I know some people say it's like 80% mindset, 20% skill, or 80% energetics, 20% strategy. Honestly, I'm thinking it's more 50-50. There is a portion of your energy that you are going to have to spend actively pursuing, actively putting the pieces in place, actively strategizing, and then actively executing that plan. However, there is another 50%, and I'm going to say 50% because I think it's just as equal, where you do have to be an energetic match for it. You have to be the person that can hold what you're asking for. You have to believe that you're worthy of it. You have to have the skills to maintain it once it comes in. It's a skill. It's a muscle that you have to exercise. And the reality is, it's just going to take what it takes. Meaning, even though there are not time limits on this or time requirements for time that you have to put in, the universe is not going to say, you can't have this unless you have a 4-year degree, or you can't have this until you put in exactly 10,000 hours. There are energetic requirements around consistency, momentum, self-mastery, and I believe that one of the most major energetic requirements, and potentially the thing that is stopping you and holding you back at this point, is having to be intentional with clearing the resistance. We can get a little woo-woo with it and talk about past life resistance to success or ancestral resistance to success, and I do believe that those are important things to navigate and to clear out. But a lot of this is going to do with your current life, your current mindset, your current limiting beliefs around what is possible for you. Whether this has something to do with money and actual physical material success, or a different manifestation that you'd like to call in, but you don't necessarily feel worthy of it. So if we're leaving the super woo-woo out of it, although you know me, I love me some woo-woo, and we just look at money mindset, for example, and scarcity loops and scarcity patterns and worthiness wounds and not feeling like you're good enough, or getting trapped in cycles from watching how your caregivers managed money, for example, or how society navigates money, or what society tells you that you have to do or how you have to be in order to have certain things available to you, and you buying into certain misconceptions around that. Are you potentially proving to yourself that you haven't been necessarily the most responsible or trustworthy person in the past with your own finances? I truly believe we have to face off with ourselves and clear out the limiting beliefs, the resistance that we're creating for ourselves in order for that gap to fully close. So it's not just you working harder, it's you working smarter. And for me, there was something so freeing this morning about the realization, the pieces all coming together for me mentally, that I can genuinely have whatever I want in this life. The universe is always going to say yes to me. They're always going to give me the blueprint. My job is to follow through on the aligned action pieces and doing my part and making sure that I'm clearing out any resistance that I have that would be slowing down the process or slowing down my ability to fully embody what I need to embody for the manifestation to be able to drop in. But there's also something so freeing about realizing I'm not in charge of the timeline. I'm not in charge of how it shows up in my life or when it shows up in my life. My only focus is on my inputs and filling up that barometer. And yes, understanding that I don't know exactly how much it's going to take, but the universe does, God does, the divine does, your spirit team does. There are helpers in the subtle realms that do know how much input is going to be required in order for you to get your desired output. And they can absolutely send you signs and little divine synchronicities and God winks and channeled pieces of information around how it could work for you or when it could work for you. But maybe the magic in this whole process, this whole co-creation process, is not knowing exactly how it works and simply flexing our surrender muscle, doing what we can do, maxing out on the divine aligned action that we can take, making sure that we're consistently facing off with ourselves and consistently keeping ourselves in check, consistently stretching our belief around what's possible for us, setting goals that feel a little bit scary but will feel so fun for us to finally accomplish, but really not forgetting that in this whole manifestation process, it really is a co-creation process where we can't fully do it 100% on our own. I know many people that have tried and all come to the conclusion that they do need support from some sort of higher power or something outside of themselves, even if it's just their ancestors on the other side. But really just being encouraged that anything is possible. Genuinely, anything that you want to accomplish while you're here is absolutely 100% possible. It may take a little bit longer than you're expecting, but just because it's delayed doesn't mean that it's not going to happen for you. I would encourage you, though, to make sure that you are doing your part, not only in just doing the physical hustle 3D work that you need to do in order for your manifestation to come in and fill the barometer that way, but make sure that you are closing that gap by doing the energetic work as well, clearing out those shadow pieces. If you're interested in using energy healing to do that, I have a really beautiful offering that I'll link in the caption. It's called Reiki for Riches, and I've prepared 5 hours of abundance energy healing sessions for you that are going to help clear you on 5 levels to make your manifestation fall in even easier and faster. So check the caption for information on that if you are interested in unlocking those sessions. But drop me your comments around how you feel about this conversation and if any light bulbs turned on for you.